Hello, and thank you for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to make a charcuterie board. I will be using the Let's Resin serving tray mold, and it's an 8 inches by 13 inches by 0.4 inches. And I measured using water, and it takes 400 milliliters. But what I'm going to do first, I just mixed up 200 to start with, and I want to put in there, whoops, some crackers. And these are some of the crackers. These are the crackers that I made in my last video when I was prepping stuff for different projects. And I want to also include some of the dried and coated herbs that I did. And I coated those in the preparing foliage for projects video. I will link those videos in the description box below, as well as link some of the items that I used today in that description box. But I'm going to start by, originally I thought, well, I'll just pour some resin and put some crackers and herbs in there and dome it. But because I like the 3D effect, and let me set this down for a second. Now these crackers I did try, and if you try to double those, they're a little too thick. That being said, the smaller crackers, these are thinner. And so if I want to do 2 different pours, I can and layer these. So that's what I think I'm going to do. So on this first pour, let me go ahead, and I did mix up 200 milliliters. So let me go ahead and get that poured in. And I want to see if I can reserve just a little bit of it to dip the crackers if I need to. Let me let that spread. And I do want to say here that these resin dipped crackers, even though it's common sense, I do feel like I need to put out there, these cannot be eaten. They would harm you. Yeah, let me go ahead and pour the rest in there. And this should, if I measured everything correctly when I was using the water, it should give me a good foundation layer. And that's what I'm looking for. And I will place some of the crackers down now, as well as some of the herbs. And then I want it to actually cure until it gets to like the soft stage. Every time I just wait until the sticky stage, it seems like I end up marking it up. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to actually let it get soft. I don't want it to cure all the way, because then you'll have a cure line, and I don't want a pour line once it cures, and I don't want that. Let me get this spread in here. And I'm real excited about this mold. I have come up with so many ideas, and I mean, this is the first time for me to use it, but my imagination has been going crazy. I think it'd be great to make themed charcuterie boards, whether it be for a special party or an anniversary or a holiday. I think the possibilities are endless. Get that up in there. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and carefully go around the edges, because I don't want bubbles. I don't want bubble pits. Go around, and I may even give it a little alcohol spray. We'll see what we need to do. I want to make sure I go around that. I do see a bubble there. All right, let me see. I want to take a peek, see. I do see some bubbles on the surface. Let me go ahead and give it a quick spray with some alcohol. And then I'm actually going to use my flashlight, because it's just easier for me to see down in there for any bubbles that I find. there's one right there. There's little bitty ones over here. And I just really get tired of projects having bubble pits in them. And they do like to hang out in these corners. Because once I get the stuff in there, it's going to be a lot harder to use my tool to get at the bubbles. Let me see if those will come to the surface. I'll give them a chance. Y'all already see a fuzz in there. There it comes. No bubble pits. I have tried to use a UV to fix the bubble pits, but I haven't been very successful with that. I guess I need more practice. All right, maybe those will pop. Okay, let me turn this off. And I think I'm going to start with, I have 5 of the round crackers. And I think I actually want to put those in the corners and one in the center. See if I can't kind of swim that over there. I really don't want bubbles underneath either, so definitely need to do some taps. And I want to try to make these as even as possible. And on the round crackers, there's both are coated. There's a flat side to the round cracker and a more of a Humpty Doo on the other, and that's to me the front of the cracker. So that's what I want facing upwards, because this is going to be the top of the charcuterie board. Let me see if I can make sure this is about centered, because I do want it in the center. Bubble. Okay. Now I am going to try to carefully and strategically place. I have, let's see. It might be easier to use my hands. I don't know. Some sage leaves. I'm going to put some down in there, and then I will move them around after I get them down in there. And they are also coated with resin. And there's no rhyme or reason. I just want them to add a little pop of color, I guess. Something besides just crackers. And to also give it that 3D effect that I'm looking for. All right, this is like a 3D actually. It's a lemon thyme. And I honestly do want something up here, so let me see if I can fit that up there in such a way that make sure it's not going to go over. That it'll add something different. And here's a teeny tiny top of a lemon thyme. I just want to add something up in that handle. Something else that's really nice about this is, you can make something pretty and hang it on the wall. It doesn't have to be used as a serving tray. Okay, let's add a little. This is just a sprig of rosemary. And I think I want it up there too. So let me just add it right up here. And then I have some teeny tiny, these are just thyme leaves, but they've all been, lemon thyme leaves, they've all been treated in resin. That one I want it to flip over. Yeah, just a couple more of those little leaves because I think they're cute. Let me flip this one over. I'm trying real hard to make sure I do not touch the bottom of my mold with my tweezers. Might be better if I use my tool. And maybe a couple more little leaves. Add something to the corners. All right, let me see if I feel like I want to move any of that anywhere. Because ideally what will be when I put the next coat on and add these crackers. Let me add one. I want one right there. And maybe one down bottom. Because I want some on both layers. Some of these on both layers. I can't do the same thing with the round ones, but I can with these. So let me move that. Put that on bottom. Put that over there and maybe put one more leaf like in here. I like that. Because yes, when I do the next coat and put the other crackers on and a little more greenery or a few more herbs, I'm really going for that 3D effect because I love it. And I love putting things in resin. Some bubbles under there, and I'll definitely need to bubble set. Maybe. Looks like I need one more something something up here. I don't know why, but I feel like I do. And one more over here. Okay. And this may not look super special at the finish. I don't know, but I really want the 3D. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to bubble sit, and I'm actually going to wait. I'll check it probably after the first 2 hours, I'll check it, and then I'll start checking it on the regular because I do want it to be soft because I am finding out if I don't let it get soft, if it's still just sticky and tacky, somehow I manage to put a mark in it, and I don't want to do that. I think that's how I got that mark in the resin dragon tray, the rolling tray that I made. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this start curing, bubble sit, and then I will meet you back here when we're ready to do the next pour. See you in a little bit. It has been about 4 hours. So I am going to go ahead and get this resin poured. I think what I'm going to do is pour like a puddle in the center and then probably dip the crackers in the resin and place them and then finish the pour. I know that they may move around, but I could move them back. But some of these crackers, when they were sitting on the mat, they got extra resin on the bottom of them, and I'm afraid that that's just going to invite bubbles. So let me start by just pouring some in the center because that's kind of where I want to place these. Stop right there for a sec. And let me see if I can take this cracker and dip it in there just to get it all coated with some more resin, because I don't want, I'm just going to set those in there. I will scooch them around here in a minute. I just don't want to invite any additional bubbles, if at all possible. Two, three. I have 5 of them I want to place. And then once I set these down, I will finish pouring the resin and then maneuver these around the way I think I want them, and then add some greenery. All right, let me set that down and let me see if I can get this resin poured. And hopefully it's enough. Make sure I get on top of those crackers. If this, for whatever reason, let me stop for a second. If this doesn't dome it, I'll have to come back in a little bit and put a dome on it. That may be the case. I don't know why I struggle so much with measuring, but I do. I'm going to see if I can carefully take this tool and scooch my crackers a little closer to the center. Give them some good taps. I really don't want any bubbles in there. And yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to pour just a little bit more to dome it. I hope that cracker doesn't end up sticking out. I'm starting to wonder. But yeah, looking down here, there's still plenty of room to add a dome to it, so I should be good. And that kind of looks like a flower. All right, let me see if I can add some greenery, and again, I'll move that around once I get it in there. Got a few leaves over here. I've got a little rosemary over here. And I'll tap those down too once I get them in there. I think it kind of wanted to look like a flower. I'll grab these 2 pieces of rosemary. And they're just little rosemary stems. Then I have 2 tiny little leaves over here. And 2. There we go. And I hope I do get the 3D effect that I'm looking for. It may not be a big 3D effect because it is not a super chunky mold, but I'm just into 3D effects, and I'm into putting stuff in resin. There's a big bubble. Let's get this leaf down there. And I did notice with the round crackers, after they sat there for a little while, they got little bubbles around the edges that I had to keep popping. All right, well, I am going to bubble sit, and I will go ahead and dome it. You don't want to watch me just mix more clear and pour it on top. But I will bubble sit, and then I will meet you back here in 24 hours for the unmolding. See you in a little bit. Okay, it's time for the unmolding, but before I do that, let's talk about these crackers a little bit. I'll tell you what, they fought me tooth and nail. As you can see, they are no longer looking like a flower. I mean, they kept trying to, these especially kept trying to swim away. These kept trying to float. When they'd swim, I'd push them back. When they'd float, I pushed them down. All that being said, I am going to have to actually file or sand, I mean, the top of this and put a top coat on it because there are pieces of crackers sticking out. And as you can see, they're kind of cattywampus in there. I had no idea they were going to float. I mean, when I put these two in, they didn't seem to float, but maybe these three had just little air pockets inside of them that I didn't know about. Okay, let's go ahead and do the unmolding. And I do see some little Humpty Doos that I'll have to take off. And when I was pouring the top coat, I was just pouring away and poured right down into this hole. Made quite the mess. And it was hard to clean up because I had a mold full of wet resin. So let's see if we can get this off. And I don't know how hard it's going to be to get off here where I poured this stuff in. I guess I'm getting ready to find, oh, it came right off good. Okay, let me set that aside. Honestly, other than the issue I had with the crackers, definitely had an issue with the crackers. But overall, I mean, there's the side. I always like the sides when I do 3D stuff. Overall, not too bad. If you look in the back, there are a couple of bubbles back here by this cracker and one over here. But overall, not too bad. Now, I love the mold, and I do plan, I have so many ideas for things that I want to do in this mold again. But that's the way it turned out with the crackers. Now, working with the crackers, between dipping them and setting them on the mat and moving them around and the mess they made, and the fact that now they've floated all around, I won't say never because you should never say never, but I don't see myself working with crackers again, at least not in the near future, because yeah, they were definitely a handful. I do like the idea. I mean, if these crackers wouldn't have given me any problems, I think it would be perfect. That being said, that's the way that looks. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Also, please consider hitting the like, subscribe, and share buttons. I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.